100 FM The Pike, and that's lit at 8:34. On the phone with us right now, it is the DPW Commissioner for the City of Worcester, Jay Fink. Commissioner, thank you very much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I know this is a very busy time for you because the seasons are changing, and but the big question this week and last week that we had concerned the Highland Street construction that's going on between Newton Square and Park Avenue, and Doherty High School is also on that stretch.
Sure.
And that's a very, very busy route. So there were two questions that both Adam and I had, as well as several listeners had. The first one being is, why can't you do this construction at night when there's less traffic?
And, typically when we look at construction, whether it's, in this case it was a water main going in for the new high school, but whether it's water work or other utility work, when it comes to major routes, we usually push them off tonight to be worked at on the overnights. In the case of this particular project, because it's a water main that's going in, it's relatively deep, and we've got a lot of other utilities in that corridor, for safety reason and for the noise factor of the residents that live along that street, that's where the determination was made, okay, we've got to do this during the day. We tried to look at the times when it would be least disruptive, and that's why, recognizing that it was going to be a 3-4 week project, we shot for at least around school vacation, so we know one of those weeks should be relatively light. With next week being, school vacation coming up. So that's what we're aimed at. We asked the same type of questions, what can be done at night? Is this some of the work? And there was some initial work that needed some excavations in the street. So we, pushed those off and tried to do it without closing the street, maintaining one lane of traffic. But when it came to actually laying this water main and the location that it's going in, for safety reason, we looked to shut down, make it one way, so at least there's one way of traffic. The school's right there. We worked with the schools so that the closure did not occur till after school had already opened and everybody had gotten in there, dropped the kids off and things like that. So there was a lot of thought that went into it. There were meetings that took place, both police, fire, as well as the school department were involved in the conversations on how best to approach this. Time of shutdowns, time of opening, work with the contractor and make sure they got in there, got their work done, and got out of there. There'll be additional work that's going up in a neighboring street, and again, that's going to be pushed off until after the work on Highland gets done. They want to get that done, get out of there, and then as far as the road restoration, you got to repair the road, repave the road. What we're doing now is temporary pavement on that trench work that's going to be done. So the road will be a little bit rough, but we're going to hold off until after school gets out to do the final restoration of the roadway. So we'll grind and overlay the trench that's going to be made on that road, but we'll do that in the summer months when the traffic is much less.
So that pretty much answered the second question. And we said on the air, there has to be a good reason. And, of course, these meetings took place and discussions took place. But how come it couldn't wait until after school got out when it's right in front of Doherty High School? And you pretty much alluded to that.
Well, the reason being is because it's this main, the water main that's being installed, is actually going to be feeding the new high school. And the construction of the new high school is predicated on getting this different, new water services, new fire services up to that new school so that they can proceed with their work and keep it on track for opening for next year.
Makes sense.
Yeah, okay. I forgot there was school vacation coming up, too, so that makes sense, too. And then now the repaving in the summer after it's done. It all starts to make sense now, so I appreciate you answering those questions. Street sweeping starts today in the city. This is not the time to rake all your leaves and debris into the street, right? This is just to clean the streets at this point because of all the nip bottles that are popping up as the snow melted, right?
Those hopefully aren't in the residential areas, but yes, if they're there, we'll pick those up too. What it does mean is that, for the residential areas here, we're posting no parking on the day the street sweeper's coming, move the cars off. We clean up all the leaves, all the sand, all the dirt, any asphalt, rocks, whatever's accumulated in those snowbanks over the winter. It does give an opportunity for folks to sweep off those sidewalks and sweep it into the gutters before we get there, and we'll pick it up. but it is not meant to, rake the lawn out, put the branches, put everything in a pile, because we just don't have the same equipment that we do in the fall. In the fall, we have large pieces of equipment, large trucks that can pick the equipment out, pick up the sticks, pick up the leaves, and haul it away. In the spring campaign, we only have street sweepers. So it's only a street sweeper that's going to be able to pick up what's laying on the roadway. If there's a pile in front of a house, the sweeper's going to go right around it, and there'll be an inspector behind it, probably issuing a citation to the home saying, "Hey, you got 24 hours to move this, or you're going to end up with a fine." Not something we like to do, but there are drop-off centers open this weekend. So there's 3 locations in the city that folks can bring their yard waste, pick that stuff up, take it, and go drop it off.
And finally, you might not even have an answer for this. We talked about it last year when we talked to you. The potholes. First of all, there's so many. Secondly, they just seem deeper this year. Is that something you're noticing too?
I can't say that they're deeper. I'm going to tell you, it seems like there's more because of the relatively mild winter we had. We didn't really have any major frost in the ground, so usually over the course of the winter, that ground is frozen, and it's frozen solid, so it sort of stays in place. This year we had a lot coming into January, February. We had a lot of freezing, thawing, and it's that freezing, thawing that really opens up things for the creation of potholes. So that even though and I charted it because others had asked, "Hey, how many potholes did you fill in the month of January?" We filled over 1,000 potholes in the month of January.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Is it like a game of whack-a-mole? As you fill them, you fill one, 3 pop up?
No. What happens is you fill it, you go through a freeze-thaw cycle, and that pothole that you filled, all of a sudden it's a pothole again. So you got to go back, and it's almost every 3 weeks, over the course of the winter, you got to go back and refill some of those same potholes, only because you've had the same, temperatures and precipitation and rain and freezing ice that has created in the first place. It's going to recreate it. So as much as we're, running around doing that, I encourage people, if you see it, call 311. They can report it. It gets put into a work order. The work orders get distributed to the crews. They go out and fix it. So even though you've called it in, even though it was fixed, you're going to see it again. And it's like, so call it in again so we get it back on that list so we can get out there and fix it.
It's like that weird uncle at Thanksgiving. You think he's fixed it, and you're going to see him again, and it's never a good experience.
Tim the Toolman Taylor. You go to fix something, and he breaks it.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
The good news is we fix it this time, and it should last us until next winter.
Nice.
Well, Commissioner Fink, we appreciate it. That's Commissioner Jay Fink of the DPW here in the city of Worcester. Thank you for being patient, answering our questions. We appreciate that. If people have questions, where can they go, like, say, online, instead of calling 311?
Just hit the city website. You'll see drop-downs for everything from street sweeping, yard waste collection. There's recycling information. We started a new program for textile repurposing, so that folks that it's changed the season, get rid of your wardrobe. You've got clothes, winter clothes, whatever. They will come to your doorstep, pick it up from your front door. Check it out on the website. It's a new service, and it keeps all that from, 1, going in the landfill, and 2, from you having to pay to put it in the trash bag.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Commissioner Jay Fink, DPW Commissioner here in the city of Worcester. I appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, gentlemen.